This has had some time to dry now. Not quite as long as I would like, but it has had some time, which is good. Okay, and that's our hinge all ready to go to be attached. So what I'm going to do is just lay this flat so we can start sticking some adhesive to the back of the hinge system here. I'm going to use my thick white tape for this. So I'm going to go ahead this way on my hinge. So I'm going across the way to the ones we've stuck down already. And also because we have this little gap top and bottom. So I'm just going to burnish those off. And I think what I'm going to do as well is what I did on my original filming for the hidden hinge. I added another little piece of cardstock to the back of this, just to give it a bit more strength across this backing here before we go and attach it to our books. I'm just putting lots of tape across at the moment. I've got room for one more, and then we'll cut a piece of card. So just go and get this all burnished down, because we want a good stick on here. Oh, that one's come up. So get a piece of card out of my stash that I've got left here. So that needs to be 2 inches by 4.5. I'm just putting my paper trimmer up here. I'm going to go just under 2 inches so I don't get any interference with the side of the spine. So I've gone 1 7/8. So let's get all these pulled off now and get this piece stuck down, and then we can start sticking the whole thing all together. And I'll get the double-sided tape off. Because the lights have got hot now here. That's the thing when I'm filming, especially as winter's now starting to approach. That last one, and then just going to attach that. So that was actually 1 7/8, and then I'm just going to go in between each piece again, burnishing well so we get a good stick. It's worth taking the time to do this, because obviously once your album is together you're not going to be able to do this the same. So do take the time at this stage when making your books to get everything well stuck. Let's have a look at that now. That's nice. We've got a nice flat back on there now. And that's all now nicely coming together. Now when you look at mine, because I've used 2 pieces of card, I've obviously got a join seam here. So I tend to have that at the back of the book. Okay, so it's something to bear in mind when you're going to then put it in. You can have it in the front, it's not a problem, but I just think as you open the book, you've then got that continuous line here at the front. When you've got it at the back of the book, you don't notice that line as much then. Okay, so it's just something to bear in mind, that you make sure you get that the right way round. And then I'm going to open these hinges out again, because we need to get lots of double-sided tape on here to get this stuck down. So I'm going straight in with lots of this sticky double-sided. Okay, I'm going to have to do 2 and then do a join in the middle. So just burnish that off well and take these top covers off, then I can tuck everything in out the way as well, because I've just torn them off. So just tuck all those bits in like that, and then I can overlap and put a piece in the middle as well, because I'm just putting lots of tape on. If you're a bit unsure about going straight tape to project because you've got no manoeuvrability, remember you can use the trick with the Pritt stick, or you can use a bit of your Cal glue as well. It doesn't matter at all, just a bit of wet glue does help and gives you a little bit of wiggle room, and also it means that when the glue's dried off you've still got the tape there also doing its job. So it's a bit of belt and braces, as I call it. So don't be afraid to do that at all if you're not confident to go straight in. I still do it, so you know, don't ever be ashamed to do that. So I'm going to put a little piece on now. I'm not going to put too much glue, I'm just going to put a little coating just to give me that little bit of wiggle room. Okay, I'm going to bring my book cover down now. Now, as you remember, we hadn't actually folded this yet, but as you can see, I've now folded it and I haven't got any cracking in my hinge at all. I've still got that movement in my hinge as well, because we've got that extra gap between the chipboard. But because you've got two layers of the Tyvek, you've got a strong paper, you're going to have the cover as well, the inside hideaway cover as well. You've got plenty of sturdiness on those corners and on the inside. Okay, so it does work. So I just need to now get these in place. I should have scored those score lines before I did that, but I didn't. So I'm just going to eyeball in, and I'm just going centre of the grey board and trying to go the same top and bottom. I'm going to come over this way a little bit, so this is where having the glue just gives you that little bit of manoeuvrability. That's one that side and again on that side. Yeah, that's fine. Let's burnish that well down. Okay, then the next thing we need to do, should have scored these over well, but I didn't. It doesn't matter. Next thing we're going to do is wet glue this onto here. So this is the hideaway hinge cover. So this now needs wet gluing onto the main cover. And for this, I think I'm going to go in with my Cal again, because as we know, the Cal acts like another sheet of cardstock. So I'm just going to go ahead and put a good layer of glue on. And with this system you do have to have the patience to let it dry between stages. I wouldn't suggest using double-sided tape for this part of the project either, because well, number one, the glue helps to give another layer, but also I don't want the paper to tear. So by having the glue on, it does help with, like, I'm moulding over this part of the book now where we've got our fastening, because this isn't dead flush, unlike other, if I was just doing it without any mechanism on it at all, it would be fine. This also allows the glue to be dispersed. If I've got tape on this, once it's down, I cannot move it anywhere. I'm going to put a couple of these on here just to help hold that down till it's dry, as it's going over that bit of fastening that we've got on there. So just turn it around and do exactly the same on this side. So as I say, this is where you do have to be patient and let it dry in between these stages. I'm a bit of an impatient crafter, and I must say I'm finding it hard to leave, but sometimes I'm doing this part of the project and I'm finding the best thing is to leave it overnight. Just leave it overnight to dry, then I can't touch it. So I can't do anything, so I come back into my craft room the next day. So that works quite nicely. So just keep pushing it down, dispersing all that glue and letting that get a good stick. Don't worry that it's laying flat at this stage. It's exactly like the cover laid flat, and as you saw, the cover came together. Because we've got that wider hinge gap, it does all come together, but just please allow it to have the time to dry. So I'm just going to let that dry, and then I'll come back to you and we'll add our pages. My cover and the hinge with the hideaway hinge system is now dried. I've left this to dry overnight, so I get a really nice stick on everything and it's nicely dry. And then what I've done next is bring my bone folder in. Oh, in here. With the bone folder, just run along the seams. Now this is the natural seam where this one joins, and if you gradually bend your cover, you'll see where your joins are. And what I do is just gently rub my bone folder there to reinforce the score line. So that's that one, and then I've done the same here on this side. And then what you do is you just gradually tease it in, and that's your spine on your cover, and as you can see, there isn't any cracking on the spine at all. And then with the fastening, this just slips round and you've got the nice fastening to your cover. So if you haven't tried this fastening yet, it's well worth giving it a go. They're really cheap to pick up. So that's the fastening on that. Then you haven't got to worry about any metal embellishments on this album. So we'll go ahead now and add our pages. We added all our double-sided tape. So now we're going to go in and add all the pages to this. So I'm just working out which order I'm going to put them in. Number one, put them in the right order, and if you do have a paper collection with a pattern that needs to be a certain way up, make sure it's the right way up. That's the other thing. In some ways, being the fact you're lifting flats, it's quite good to have something that's a bit more generic rather than something that isn't. So I think we'll go in this order. Quite like that order. So we'll go darker at the back. So making sure I've got my flaps the right way, and I've got the hinge where I want it. So we'll take off. I always tend to start at the back of the book. I don't quite know why, but that's just the way I work. So I've taken the back tape off, and then you need to just open the hinge. I'm going to probably slide it on actually. I've only actually taken the tape off the back one at the moment. Slide that on. I'd rather preferred it to be a bit further down, and then lift in here. It's a little bit fiddly. Pull this piece off, and then you can push that down. And then what I would tend to do is open these pages so I can give it a good burnish with my bone folder. You won't be able to pick it up on the camera, but my hinges, I've got a little piece gap of the actual hinge itself from the paper. So by having my sticky tape that little bit smaller has been to a benefit. I've not got to tuck all that away. So rubbing that on both sides. And that's page one, so I'll do another one with you. So I'm going to take just the backing off one. Make sure I've got it the right way round. And this is where you just need to take your time to make sure they're level, or it's level with the one before it. And take off the backing of this one. Burnish that down. I'll go back and reinforce all my burnishes when I've put all these in to show you. So take that one off, and I'll have this colour now, so I'm just sliding that in. By having the tape off the one side is giving me a bit more control. If I've taken the tape off both sides, everything's going to get stuck together and you're going to get in a right muddle. So little tip there, just take the tape off one side at a time. Take that one off there and just lift that up so that sticks. And the last page, this is quite a nice album by having the 4 pages, but as you know with Elsa's design you do get a lot of photographs on each page, so you know, I personally think 4 pages in this album is ample, but feel free to add more if you wish, if you've got lots of photos from a holiday or an event that you want to showcase in one little mini album. But it's a great design that she's come up with. So I'm just going to go ahead, I did the first one, so let's just go ahead and do the others. So I'm just going to open these up, and with my hands I'm just pushing in at the spine there just to make sure I've got a good stick, because it's worth doing it at this stage. You don't want to have your album all ready and then it all falls apart. Push those in there. And then the last one. I've really enjoyed making this, and it is quite nice sometimes to make something that someone else has designed, because as sort of paper crafters ourselves, we're always coming up with designs to tempt you as crafters, so it's quite nice sometimes for us to use somebody else's design. That just needs opening up there. I'm now just slotting my tags in. I've gone for cream tags, so it all matches. It's exactly the same colour as my hinge and the hideaway hinge cover, so I've gone with the same colour, so everything is coordinating, and then also I think that gives it a nice finished professional look as well. So just think a little bit about that when you're picking your papers and cardstock. I know sometimes you get carried away with pattern papers and you pick them because you like them and then you never use them, but I do tend to like to use mine. So that's the album now complete. I've put the band round it, that holds it all in place, so it's a perfect little album. So I'm really pleased with how it's turned out. So it just shows you with Elsa's design you can always use it with this hinge system where you hide it away rather than using a bind it all or a cinch. As you can see, the pages lay nice and flat as well, which is great, so you can access all the areas. So that's another good thing about it. All I need to do now is fill this with some photographs and perhaps put some embellishment on the front. I'm tempted to not go too heavy with embellishments. I've got the glittery paper on the front, and obviously as the album opens out right, if you've got too many embellishments it won't lay flat to view, so I won't go too mad with embellishments. But once I've finished it, I'll pop some pictures over on my website for you to have a look at. So that's my take on Elsa's tutorial. So I've done the one with the bind it all system that I've used here with some card covers, and then I've done one where I've actually made it into a nice mini book here with the loop elastic tie. So I'm Dawn from Dawn's Inspirations. I do hope you've enjoyed looking at these videos with me, and you will have a go at Elsa's design of making a scrapbook page out of one sheet of 12 by 12. I'll leave the link at the bottom of the video and also over on my website so you can watch her tutorial. So I'm Dawn from Dawn's Inspirations. Thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed what I've shown you. Bye bye for now.